What you doing?
Hey, just finishing this claim to get Dave back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.
Hey, is the power off on this?
I don't know. Just take it off.
Safety violation, unsafe work conditions.
In the construction trades unions, safety is our highest priority, and we train you to recognize and speak out on unsafe working conditions so that everyone arrives and goes home safely. Learn about careers in construction at georgiaconstructioncareers.com.
Welcome back to another episode of Keeping It Real with Najeh Wilkins, presented by georgiaconstructioncareers.com. We're excited. We have a big show today. We're going to bring on head coach Tommy Lewis from Landmark Christian, talk to him a little about his program. Tough start, but I know he's going to have them ready to go for this regional opener against Elsa, so we talk to him momentarily. Then in the second segment, we're going to get into some Tell the Tape. Wide receiver Brandon Bryant from Bluffton. We're going to break down his tape. Demetrius Barnes from North Atlanta. And it's some big plays by Deco, Darren Coleman, and also Tommy Lafayette. And then we'll conclude with our top 10 headlines for the weekend, also presented by Georgia Construction Careers. Headlined by a big matchup no one's talking about, Lambert versus East Coweta out there, 9-region matchup. Two undefeated teams. Will be a lot of fun to watch. But without further ado, let's bring on head coach Tommy Lewis from Landmark Christian.
Hey, Najeh, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Coach. How are you?
Doing well. Just another beautiful day here in Fairburn.
Yes, sir. It was a lot of fun talking to you at Media Day, and it's been difficult for me to get out there, but I'm just glad to have you on the show and just talk a little bit about your program.
No, I appreciate you having me on, Najeh. I have to admit, though, I was a little surprised when I got the call from Jordan that you wanted me on, but an honor to be here.
Yes, sir. Well, Coach, I want to talk about the history, right? You have a pretty storied history. I looked a little bit into it. You were coaching before you had the job at Landmark Christian, right? You were at Hilton Head Island. You won multiple championships there. You bring that pedigree over here to Landmark Christian. So what were some of the differences, Coach, coaching kind of there and then being here in the Peach State and coaching some really talented teams and obviously going against some steeper competition?
Yeah, no, I think you say the biggest difference, the biggest change. It's hard to really say that there's a huge difference. I think no matter what level you coach, football is football. I know it's a cliche, but it's a very good one. Is that the teams that block the best and tackle the best are usually the ones that win. And so football is the same everywhere. And obviously, the levels of football, the talent level, the depth of talent can change from school to school, from state to state, from level to level. But coaching here in Georgia, obviously Georgians put a lot of emphasis on football. It's a lot of fun to coach in a state like Georgia. But I've been in Virginia, I've been in South Carolina, I've been in Florida, and now here in Georgia for the last 2.5, going into my third season here at Landmark. The people that are football fans love football. They love good football. They love competitive football, and the kids that play it, all want to do well. So not a whole lot different in that regard. But as you alluded to, the level of football here from top to bottom, from 7A to 1A in Georgia is very solid, and so it's been a real challenge to build here. But we've been successful in different places we've been in building programs, and I don't suspect this will be any different. Lord willing, the creek don't rise.
Yes, sir. And then, Coach, walk me through what does it mean to kind of be a Landmark Christian War Eagle. I seen you out there before you even came on the show. You were talking to some of the students, just asking, "Hey, how'd your meet go?" And sometimes you don't see that from football coaches. A lot of coaches don't stay focused on their sport, but it seems like you try to engage with other students from other programs as well, as far as different sports. So I actually like that. But just what does it mean to be a Landmark Christian War Eagle coach?
Well, sure. I've had the fortune of being at a lot of really solid Christian schools in my career. And I can honestly say that Landmark is probably, as a school and the school community, is probably the most complete school that I've been at. The academics here it is definitely a college preparatory school. Athletics are, and as well as the arts. If you take the 3 A's of education, academics, arts, and athletics, it's really tough to find a better place, particularly if you're looking for a Christian education for your kids or a Christian environment. So in that regard, my family and I were thrilled to come here and serve alongside Dr. Weshy, the head of school, and the administration here. The other coaches here are committed to their crafts as well. We have high-level track and field. We have 2 basketball programs, one that's been well established on the girls' side, and our coach, Brandon Serzol, on the girls' side is really doing a great job of building our athletics here on the boys' side of basketball. And we have Scott Fletcher, who has Major League Baseball experience, continuing the baseball tradition here. So we have a lot of great coaches, great people here. And so when you combine all those things in a Christian environment, keeping the main thing, it's just been a real joy and a pleasure to be a part of this community.
Certainly, Coach. And kind of tell me, what's your biggest takeaway through the first 4 weeks, Coach? You got your region opener this week. We'll talk about that matchup a little bit more in depth in a second. But just what's your biggest takeaway through the first 4 games, the non-region games your team played?
Sure. Well, if your viewers and listeners don't know what Landmark right now, we're 0-4. So biggest takeaway is we got a lot of work to do. But we have the coaching staff and the kids that are taking on that challenge each day. We have a lot of success at the lower levels. Looking forward to our younger guys coming up. Our JV right now is 3-0. Our middle school programs, both our middle school programs are doing well. So there's a lot of positivity in our football program despite the 0-4 start. But as you mentioned, Najeh, we have Elka coming up, first region game, and so it doesn't get any easier. Elka's a storied program as well, but we're aware that they're going through a little bit of some growing pains as well. They're 0-4 this year. We're 0-4, so someone's going to start out 1-0 in the region and get their first win of this season, and someone's still going to be searching for that first win. And so we're looking forward to the challenge tomorrow night.
Yes, sir. And Coach, I want to talk about your team's faced a little bit of adversity and growing pains to start the season. So just from a coaching perspective, how do you just tell them, hey guys, okay, that was non-region. Obviously it matters, but in the grand scheme of things, region play matters more, right? This is to be able for us, we can punch our tickets still to go to the postseason. So from that, Coach, how do you just approach that with them and tell them, hey, let's lock in, let's get focused? What are some of the strategies you use to kind of get your team to kind of just buy in, even though they face some adversity so far?
Sure. Well, I mean, you hit the nail on the head, Najee. It's you kind of like you almost stole what we've been talking about this whole week. We kind of call it our second preseason. Those first 4 games, and of course you want to experience more success. Of course you want to have some positives to build on, as well as the negatives, if you will, to correct. But the bottom line is exactly what you just said. The region schedule is what determines whether or not you make the playoffs, your playoff seeding, and so we can in some ways put our first 4 games behind us. In a lot of ways, good or bad, you need to do that anyway. Again, what we try to do week to week is build on the positive, correct the negative, and get ready for the next one. So, everything's been focused on, this week has been focused on correcting what needed to be corrected, the first 4 weeks of the season. And believe it or not, even with an 0-4 start, there are positive things that we can build on. And so we've been trying to maximize those things, the things that we do well. and so you carry that into the game this week, with the idea that you want to go 1-0 that week. And so this is in that regard, this week is no different. But obviously we're working hard for a different result.
Yes, sir. And I want to talk about one game that stood out as a close loss, but you guys played Rockdale County, played them tough. Just what would you take away from that game? What kind of happened there against the Bulldogs and playing them?
Yeah, well, that was a back and forth game. It was obviously both teams' first game of the season. I kind of like front loading our schedule, bigger schools, tougher challenges, and so we just even had a chance to go ahead with a final drive toward the end. I don't know the young man's name, but number 8 for Rockdale's a talented player. He played receiver and DB, and he made a fantastic play on a deep ball, and so kind of put an end to our hopes of coming back in that game. But I think more than anything, let our guys know that we can compete. Can compete with bigger schools, and those are always big program goals going into each year, is to honor the Lord and to compete. And I feel like, and I've told the guys this, I feel like we've done that really well each week. I think we've honored the Lord. But, as far as competing, I really, and being transparent with our guys, and that, I try to be as real with them as I can. There were 2 weeks where I just felt like we didn't show up, and that was against St. Francis and against this past week against McIntosh. Not to take anything away from either one of those teams. Both of them are good squads, well-coached teams. But I just felt like that we didn't bring our best, and so that was a little bit disappointing. So those are the things that we've been talking about this week. We've been trying to maximize our time on the field and the weight room as we continue to just improve each week. And so we're going into it in this Elka game with the mindset that we want to be 1-0 against Elka and 1-0 in the region.
Yes, sir. And then, Coach, I got a two-sided question for you. One, I want to know, if you had to say, Coach, what's kind of the identity of this team that you have out there on Friday nights? And then two, can you kind of tell us what it's like coaching for a Christian program? You've been doing it for a little while now. You talked about doing it in South Carolina, Virginia, and other states, and now doing it again in Georgia. What's that kind of like? You mentioned kind of honoring the Lord and kind of being in your faith and competing, but what is it like kind of coaching for a Christian program? What does it all entail?
Sure. To start with your first question there, Najeh, our identity. I think we're still trying to figure that out, to be honest with you. I think our guys, I think that is probably the biggest question that we have been challenging our young team with each week is, who are we? Do we know ourselves well enough first before we even worry about trying to figure out, who the other team is, what they do, and things like that. So I think we're still on this journey, of this 2023 season in terms of finding out who we are. And, I think the first 4 weeks kind of called into question maybe some of the thoughts that we had going into the season about who we were. But I'm confident that the region schedule will answer those questions for us. Whether we find the answer or not, I think it's going to be, it's going to reveal itself here in the next few weeks. And again, so we're looking forward to the opportunity the opportunity we have against Elka. As far as being at a Christian school, I first of all, I want to say how much I admire the believers out there that coach at our public schools. Our public school systems need the Lord. They need our leaders, our coaches that do follow Christ to be out in the forefront. And so I just want to give a big shout out to all those believing coaches out there that are at our public schools doing what they do. Sometimes undercover, so to speak, because it's not always received real well in the public arena. And so those guys are doing a great job. For me, it was kind of out of need at first, because only private schools would hire me, because I did not have my teaching credentials. My degree is in business and business administration. I have a master's in business. Went out in the business world for a year, and really felt like the Lord was saying, no, I didn't give you your education to pursue the business world, but to be in education. And so at the time, the private school education was really the only option. And because they, obviously private schools have the flexibility to hire who they want, and without necessarily having a teaching certificate. And so that's what started me on the journey. And then when my wife and I started having children, the Lord has blessed us with 3 of our own, and we've adopted 2. So so we have 5 children, and we really didn't want any other kind of education for our kids. And so to be kind of about it, the only way we could afford a private Christian school education was to continue teaching and coaching in that arena. And so but looking back on my particular journey as a coach and my family's journey through Christian education, wouldn't want it any other way. So thankful for our Christian schools out there that are raising up the next generation for the Lord, and it's just an honor to be a part of, like I said, such a great community as Landmark. That keeps saying that vision, that purpose first. Our vision for our school is to prepare every student to impact the world for Jesus Christ, and whether that's through athletics, our academics in our classrooms, in our hallways, or whether it's through the arts. That's what Landmark's all about, and that's what me and my family are all about. So to be able to serve the Lord in this great community has truly been an honor.
Yes, sir. And Coach, I'm gonna throw this to you now, and I'm gonna let you highlight players. I just want to know, in your eyes, what are some players that have impressed you this season, excuse me, and then who are some guys that are underrated, kind of flying under the radar? A lot of people don't know about that. Just been giving you great effort and been competing at a high level. It's been good for the program so far.
Sure. Football being the great team sport that it is, it's sometimes hard to single out individual efforts, but everybody knows that every team, every sport does have some young people that go above and beyond the call. I guess the first person I would want to start with is the unfortunate incident that we had with Micah Tate. He's a senior running back and defensive end. Was really looking forward to his senior year. Had really positioned himself well to be to not just be a leader on our team, but had been an impact player. He was hoping to play in college, and I think at college will still give him a chance just because he's such a physical specimen. But that first game against Rockdale, he took a hit on the knee and tore his ACL. And so, but the great thing about Micah, and one of the reasons we had such high hopes for him and why he was elected a team captain is because of his character and his work ethic. And he is if not for doctor's visits, he would not have missed a single practice or workout. He's out there supporting his teammates and coaches in the program and doing whatever he can do as an injured player to help our team out. So Micah Tate, I think, because of who he is as well as the athlete he is, I think he'll get a shot somewhere at the next level. Some other young men that have just been playing really well for us. Our center, Will Patman, affectionately known as Willie P. He's been a starter ever since I arrived here at the center position. He's a senior now. He started as a sophomore and really anchors our front line and does a great job. He's another one that could play at the next level if he wanted to, but he's just being the best high school player he can be, getting a great experience, having the best experience he can, loving his teammates, loving the game, and he'll just be going to college next year as a student. He'll be ready to hang up the cleats after this year, but he's someone that anchors our front line. And then we have another senior up front, Micah Rogers, who is pursuing aviation, but he plays right tackle for us as well as defensive tackle. And I believe he's going to have a chance to play at Winston-Salem State next year. Those guys stand out right now as leaders and really just doing a solid job of performing for us. Some of our young guys have really stepped up this year. We are a relatively young team. Evan Bruni has been playing some running back and outside linebacker as a freshman. Has been doing a really nice job. Skylar Hamilton, who backs up our senior quarterback, Carson Bear. Skylar's a quarterback and will probably be taking the reins next year back. He's the son of the famous Georgia Tech quarterback Joe Hamilton. But Skylar's a sophomore, and because he's so unselfish and so athletic, he's stepped in and been playing some split end for us, some receiver as well as some free safety, and really been doing a really dynamic job back there at the back end of our defense, as well as being one of our better receivers. So those are the guys that come to mind. Those are the guys people should be looking for over the next few years, the young guys. And, of course, there are many other guys on our team that are doing a great job. But, I can't go through our whole roster right now.
No, definitely not, Coach. But I speaking of Carson Bear, your senior quarterback, I mean, how would you just rate his performance this year? How good has he been playing, just final season for you, leading the offense, kind of commanding the team?
Yeah, no, he has tremendous respect from his coaches and teammates. He has great field presence and commands the huddle very well. And I think he would agree when I say this. Again, we're very transparent with our players. He's been a little inconsistent. I think he would own that. And he knows that he needs to play well for our team to be in a position to win. And so, but he doesn't shy away from that responsibility. And he has a tremendous desire to continue to grow in the position and get better and to lead this team. And so, we know when we get a little more consistent play from Carson, the reality of our first victory this season will come to fruition.
Yes, sir. And I know you mentioned some players on your defense. I just want to know defensively, who was your kind of captain going into this season? Who's you've been kind of leaning on to kind of lead that group defensively, kind of as almost your DC on the field, or just, your player or a couple players that have just been playing that big pivotal role for you?
Right. There were three names that immediately came to mind when you asked that, Najeh, and each guy represents a different level of the defense. Up front, junior Chase Story is a very talented player, plays hard, plays well, and so he really anchors the front line for us on the defensive side of the ball. I'd say a young guy kind of leads up the linebacking core, sophomore Brady Robinson. I think he has a very high ceiling and will be able to play at a high level someday at the next level. But as a sophomore, he's really doing a fantastic job leading our linebacking core. And then aside from Skylar Hamilton at the back end, senior Andrew Seppings, who's another one that, if he wanted to pursue football at the next level, he could probably play. He's a very academic young man. He's looking at some of the Ivy Leagues, as well as what I call a public Ivy school, my alma mater, College William & Mary. Just has a desire to go on and be a college student, but he's kind of the glue that holds us together at the back end of the defense, the defensive backfield. He's actually played a couple of different positions for us. He's played some linebacker for us. He's played some free safety and corner for us. I believe this have him manning the back end at free safety and kind of being the quarterback out there making the calls. But yeah, those three guys, Chase Story, Brady Robinson, and Andrew Seppings have been doing a great job on the defense for us.
Yes, sir. Well, Coach, I know you're a busy man. I got two more questions, and I'll let you go. One, we've talked about the defense, and we talked about the team as a whole. You mentioned just still figuring out the identity of the team, competing at a high level, and kind of ironing some kinks out, some growing pains. So what are you kind of expecting from this team? We're kind of at the midway point almost in the season. It's hard to believe, but you're hitting that region schedule. I know you want to come out good against Elsa. Elka, just what are you expecting from his team in the second half of the season?
Yeah, I expect us to keep fighting. While our performances Friday night have been been wide and varied in terms of the scores and competing or feeling like sometimes we don't show up. I, I have to say that these guys are showing up each day to work out in the weight room, to work, to get to work on the field, and I think we'll just continue to work to improve. That's the one of the reasons why I was so excited about you having me on, even though we're having a little bit of a struggling season, is because I think the most growth opportunities are when you go through seasons like this, and our young men are aware of that. I think they're embracing that, and they're working hard to not just improve as football players, but they know that that working hard in any endeavor will eventually bring fruit. Not always the fruit that we may necessarily want or desire in terms of, like in athletics, it's wins. Obviously you want to win. As Herman would say, you win. You play the game to win. There's no question that we want to win and we're going to play to win. But what this game teaches us in life is just how you have to lean on each other. It's a lot about interdependence rather than independence when it comes to football. And so we just need to continue to lean on each other, be great teammates, be there for each other. As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another is another one of the proverbs we adhere to in football. And so we're just going to keep on sharpening one another and just look forward to getting our first win and then getting on a roll from there.
Yes, sir. And the last thing, speaking of that, you kind of talked about it a little bit right there, but playing Elsa, big region opener for you. Just Coach, what do you expect from your group in that one? And then last thing, just how can, getting the victory on Friday night just go into building for the rest of the season and for your group and going forward?
Right. Well, I know Elka's going to, bring their best against us. They feel like they're backed into a corner as well, being 0-4 and also having to be a first region game. So we know we're going to get Elka's best, and so we plan on going down to McDonough and giving Elka our best. The guys are preparing with that mindset, and so that's what we're going to go into it with. It's going to be a battle for 4 quarters, for 48 minutes of game time. And so we're just looking forward to that challenge. Each week is a challenge, and so give them our best, and that's what the intentions we're going down there we're doing. And as far as building momentum, again, one of the things that kind of keeps us grounded is understanding that win or lose, we play to the glory of the Lord. That win or lose, we're going to learn and grow. Win or lose, we're going to build on the positive, correct the negative. And and some people say, well, then you don't want it enough, and maybe that's why you're struggling or what have you. But these are the philosophies that I believe the Lord calls us to. That's everywhere I've been, and and again, we've had some great programs and great winning seasons and championships. So I know the process works. I know playing for the Lord is a great thing and a great honor. And so we're just going to keep the main thing, and keep working hard. And so win, lose, or draw, right? We're going to build momentum going into the next week. But obviously everything right now is focused on Elka.
Yes, sir. Well, Coach Lewis, thanks so much for joining the show. You're welcome anytime. It's a lot of fun talking to you and highlighting your program. And as you can see, it doesn't matter your record, Coach. Any coach, whatever the record, is always welcome on my show.
Well, I appreciate that, Najeh. I really do embrace the opportunity. You can have us on anytime. We really appreciate the opportunity. Love the work you do. Love anybody that helps promote high school athletics and the kids that play it. And so really appreciate you having us on.
Yes, sir. Anytime. And good luck this week against Elsa.
All right. Thanks so much, Najee. Have
Yes, sir.
a blessed rest of your
You
week
too.
as well.
All right, guys. There goes Coach Lewis. Great coach, man. A lot of fun to talk to. Enjoyed meeting him at Georgia High School Media Day. I didn't really get a chance to talk to him in depth. It was kind of cut short. But, you know, he does a good job. In the 2 seasons that he's coached with Landmark Christian, he's led them to the playoffs. So I think he'll do the same this year. Obviously, you got young guys coming in, losing one of your best players in Micah. You're going to deal with those struggles. But I like what he said. They got young guys stepping up. And it kind of starts with them just, putting in the effort, competing every day. And I think they'll be just fine. So very fun. Enjoy talking to him and learning about his program and things like that. But we're going to take a quick short break, thank our sponsors, and be back on the other side.
Hey, is the power off on this?
I don't know. Just take it off.
Safety violation, unsafe work conditions.
In the construction trades unions, safety is our highest priority, and we train you to recognize and speak out on unsafe working conditions so that everyone arrives and goes home safely. Learn about careers in construction at georgiaconstructioncareers.com.
What you doing?
Hey, just finishing this claim to get Dave back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.
All right, guys, welcome back. Let's go ahead and move to the second segment of the show. A lot of stuff still to talk about today. Major recruiting news and also some tell the tapes with some pretty electric, dynamic playmakers. So we're going to start with Bluffton wide receiver Brandon Bryant. Real quick on him, I just think he has a great second burst. He can really get to the second level pretty easily. You're going to see a couple plays. One of them I highlighted last week when I had Owen Bays on and highlighted his film. The screenplay, you're going to see him break multiple tackles. Just incredible. He does really good with his comeback routes as well. It's always open, and he can also jump up and high point the football as well. So without further ado, let's roll this tape. And then if you can't correct the things at the bottom, guess yeah, we're fine. But yeah, this first play right here, you're just gonna see him on a kick return. He's just gonna be able to hit the hole and be able to take it all the way to the house. Great play right there. Here is going to be the screenplay I was telling you about. But yeah, here's a second look right here. Great job just finding the crease in the defense, hitting the hole. Phenomenal play right there, turning into a touchdown for his team. Right here is going to be the screenplay. Bottom of the screen right here. Blocked up pretty well. And then, boom, look at him hit that hole. That's 4 different defenders that missed the tackle right there. Great burst of speed right there from Bryant. Turning into a big gain senior wide receiver. Definitely underrated and under-recruited. Right here, you're going to see him. I just love how he gets vertical with the defender. Boom. Got him beat right there. Great throw from Bays. Hits him only where he can get it. Phenomenal play right there, getting vertical. Right here, you're going to see a little bit of press coverage right here. Boom. Look at him get inside. Great release. 2 defenders. Doesn't matter. He beats both. Right here, going to play off. Look at him high point this football right here. Boom. Look at that. Way to go up and go get it. Big game for him. Nice first down in the red zone. Right here, he's going to play a little bit of safety right here. This is a bunch formation to the left. Look at him cut off the route. Quarterback kind of telegraphs it. Turns it into a pick 6. Big time play. Shows that he can play both sides of the ball and be dynamic with it. Right here, bottom of the screen. Defender falls asleep. Boom. Look at that cut right there. Made him miss. Boom. Look at the cut again. Made 2 defenders miss. Turns it into a touchdown. Phenomenal play right there from Bryant. Right here. Pause it real quick, Craig, for me. All right. So, as you guys saw, I put mismatch. So, this is a great design play from the offensive coordinator. Why? Because he has 3 trips to the right of the field. Then you're going to see he's going to have 2 other players to the side, 2 other receivers. So, number 4 that's guarding him, that is a linebacker, right? As we've seen throughout his highlight tape, he's able to torch a lot of different defenders. So already, this is an issue. This is why I put mismatch. Linebacker on an elite receiver. Then you're going to see right here, then you see the safety at the top of the screen as well. So safety's going to see it too late, react too late. Bryant's going to beat him in the inside, and then it's over. Craig, you can roll it for me. Boom. Nice release. Get inside. Safety sees it too late. Turns it into a score. That's great design play from the offensive coordinator. This is going to be a punt return right here. Look at him read the defense. Not going to be a score, but look at him turn into a big gain. Help out the offense. Boom. Breaks that tackle. That's 1. That's 2. Turn into a big gain. Defender's going to catch him right here, but you can't get no better than that. Starting at what, your 12-yard line. Great play. Then here you're going to see the comeback routes I was talking about. Boom. Nice release right there. Just getting open. Nice pocket for his quarterback to throw to. Easy money right there. Same thing. It's going to come off. Boom. Nice little comeback route. Come back to it. Nice catch right there. Same one. This is going to be for a touchdown. Press coverage right here against the DB. Boom. Look at him. See it? Boom. Come back to the ball. Nice, easy tutty. And there you go right there. So, Brandon Bryant, under-recruited player, as his quarterback mentioned, probably one of his favorite targets besides Cardinal Warren. And we've seen just throughout the tape, right? He's able to take big plays, turn them into touchdowns. He's dynamic in the return game. He's able to take screens, things like that to the house, and he's able to use different comeback routes to beat cover 3s, cover 4s. So, obviously, very impressive out there. And at Bluffton, they're off to a 3-1 start. Very, very impressive. They got a big game coming up against, I think it's Beaufort, I think, this week. So they're going to start region play after that game. But they're off to an incredible start. Obviously, Owen Bays, Brandon Bryant, Cardinal Warren, and the 3-star Jeremiah Curry are doing a great job offensively for the group. Scored like 56 points in their last game against Battery Creek. So they're doing an incredible job. Want to give them a shout out. Very, very impressive tape. We're going to roll the next one. This is North Atlanta running back Demetrius Barnes. There's also a play in here that I wanted to highlight. And I'm sure Coach Doe, obviously down there at North Atlanta, and Coach All, they do a great job with the running backs. And Barnes is a great downhill runner. But there's one play specifically, if he puts his foot in the ground and he cuts the other way, I think it will turn into an even bigger game. But great downhill runner. You're going to see the play. I'm going to break that down in a sec. But let's roll the tape. All right, right here, you're going to see him right in the red zone. Reynolds is going to hand it off to him. Nice job making the defender miss right there. Turn into an easy score right there. Okay, right here is going to be a big game. He's going to follow his blocks. Boom, break that tackle. Drag 2 defenders into the red zone. Okay, here we go again. Boom, nice little pitch play right there. Boom, he's going to beat the defender to the edge, turn into an easy score. Great job right there from Barnes. Boom, look at him make that defender miss. It's 1 tackle, 2. Turn into a big gain right there. Okay, love this play as well. It's going to be a motion. Boom, get to that 1, 2 defenders miss. That's 4 defenders missed on that play. Turn into a big game for Barnes. Here he is again. I love this play. Pause it right quick, Craig. Okay. Now, look at all the orange jerseys right here. I want y'all to see that. Yep. All right, that's good. Okay, keep it rolling. Right there. Pause right there. Look at all the orange jerseys right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Look at him drag about 3 to 4 defenders just to get the first down. I mean, look at that. That's just sheer will and effort. Look at him. Keep going. Keep driving those legs. I mean, phenomenal right there. That's not easy to do. Great job getting the first down right there. Here we go. Boom. Look at him hit the hole. Make the defender miss right there. Turn into a big gain. Nice play right there from Barnes again. Hands it. Boom. Look at it turn into a big gain yet again. Drag this defender for more yardage all the way into the red zone at the 20-yard line. Nice design right here. Now pause it right there, Craig. Okay, so this is the play I was talking about earlier. So if you're going to see, I wish I had something I could highlight. But just look at the middle. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defenders right there. There's a linebacker that's sitting there as well. Now, I'm sure Coach Joe is pointing this out to Barnes. Barnes obviously is electric. 3 touchdowns and they're open against Johns Creek. If he makes a cut inside, so if he just fakes a cut, like he puts his foot down, like how he has there, fakes out the defender that's coming down to try to hit him, and bounces it to the outside, he's one-on-one with the safety. I'm going to take Barnes in that situation to win that 9 times out of 10. So, I'm sure Coach Doe's pointed that out to him. But, again, this is a great play. But if you go back and you look at the film and you study it, I'm sure his coach, though, has pointed this out to him. If he plants his foot, bounces it outside, that potentially is a big game for him. You can roll it, correct? See, it was already blocked up. But he had blockers on the other side. See, that's blocked up. If you guys can see, that's blocked up right there. If he bounces outside, that turns into a big game. Only play I point out. Overall, though, great tape. Boom, right here. Gonna make the defender miss. Look at him drag this defender. Drag. Look how far he dragged him for a first down. I mean, you love to see that. So, obviously, he's built very good or very well in his legs. I like the way that he keeps churning for more yardage. He doesn't give up upon first contact, which is great. He keeps churning the legs, keep moving, drags defenders. That's a great part of his game. He's a good downhill runner. And, you know, he's able to make multiple defenders miss. So I love that about him. Obviously, I think it's a bright future as well. But great tape for Demetrius Barnes, leading a North Atlanta group that's undefeated right now. A big-time game, I think, Saturday against Wheeler. And then they're going to start region play in a few weeks. I think a big game on Thursday against Marist. I think that's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top. And as Craig mentioned, I think yesterday on the show, they have not won a region opener. And how long?
Since always been there, so the last 4 years they've lost.
The last 4 years, they have not won a region opener. So if you want to set the tone saying, hey, we're going to be here to... You said lost twice?
They play Pius their next one, and then Marist.
So Pius, then Marist. Okay, so yeah, if you want to set the tone for the season, which they've already done, but if you want to set the tone like, hey, we are here to come for that one seed, I think you do about winning the region opener, and then you got all that momentum before you even play Marist, a pretty good team, but we know Marist likes to run the football. But just real quick, what I like about the North Atlanta team, all their players, or the majority of them, they run track with Coach Stowe, right? That part's very impressive about their program, and I think their speed in that matchup, I like Marist, and I like how physical they are. I think their speed is going to be a little bit too much in that matchup. Obviously, that's looking ahead. They got Wheeler first, but I think their speed bodes well on the field. They're a very physical team. They're a very well-coached team. And I think this year they're going to be better than they were even last year. And last year they set some milestones. Ian Reynolds' first year into the offense this year. They've been doing a good job. I think they're going to be able to make a little bit of noise out there in 6A come playoff time. And don't be surprised if they pull off a couple upsets. A lot of people sleeping on North Atlanta, but I think with that speed and the weapons they got in Zayden Benson, Demetrius Barnes, Darius Malcolm, Ian Reynolds, and defensively how physical they are, how they can get off of the passer with Chase Linton, I think they're going to be a very surprising team to most people, but not to me. So,
He said 400 yards of offense every game so far.
yeah. So Greg brought up a great point, 400 yards of offense so far in every game. So I think that tells you what they like to do right there. So we got one more clip we're going to show. It's Darren Coleman. It's a quick clip, about 23 seconds. It's a couple screen plays he takes for a big gain and one he takes for a touchdown. Just want to show him some love out there in Central Gwinnett. Probably doesn't get talked about enough, but it's a great student, great scholar as well, in addition to what he does on the field. But let's roll that real quick as well. All right, right here's a screenplay. Boom. Look at him make that defender miss. And look at him just turn on the jets. It almost feel like this is sped up, but it's not. I mean, that's how fast he is. And then right here, another little bubble screen. Let him follow his back and let him split two defenders right there. Boom. Split the two defenders. Easy touchdown right there. I mean, just incredible. I mean, we're going to roll it one more time. Look at the movie putting this defender. Oh, like he almost grabbing air. And then look at him turn on the jets. I mean, man. Very, very impressive for him. And then looking at this one more time right here, too. Look at him let the blockers get set up. And then, boom, let him hit the burst of speed. Easy tutty right there. So just wanted to give him some love. Doing a great job out there at Central Gwinnett. We see you, Darren Coleman. Keep up the great work. Now I want to highlight a program that's off to a great start. Miller Grove. Not being talked about enough, but in 18 previous seasons of varsity football, Miller Grove began 4-1 on the season just twice. 32-21 victory on the road against the team I just mentioned, Central Gwinnett. That's not an easy victory. On Friday, gave them their third 4-1 start. They were 4-1 in 2021, and only other season the team reached that mark was 6-1 in 2012. So head coach doing a great job. The historic win was fueled by good play in all phases of the game. 2 rushing touchdowns by Tajon Corbett and a pair of touchdown passes from Amonte Harden. One of the touchdown passes was to none other 50-yard play to Ali Dargan, Ali Dargan. And then Keyshawn Weathers added a big special teams play with an 80-yard punt return for a touchdown. Defense also was solid that night. Game-sealing interception by Bryson Kraft. So they kick it off this week. Okay, so Miller Grove is actually off this week, and they return September 29th for a region open against Southwest DeKalb. So Ali Dargan's been doing a good job, man. We got to see him at a Great Atlanta Bash. He had a great performance, won our player of the game, and he's dynamic in the open field, man. I think one of the plays he had a one-handed catch. So he's continuing to have a good season. Miller Grove Wolverines is having a phenomenal year, man, and hopefully they can continue to light it up, and hopefully they can continue to do good work out there in DeKalb, and hopefully they'll be able to punch a playoff berth this season. Their head coach is doing a phenomenal job. So just wanted to give them a highlight as a program overall. They're doing a good job. And the player I wanted to highlight, Ethan Long, 2025 QB for Dalton, the Catamounts, threw for 322 yards, 5 touchdowns in the first half, and a big win over Lassiter. Big-time game for Long, continuing to have an impressive junior season. So I wanted to give him a little bit of a highlight. Now, if you have nothing to do and you want to go to a game this weekend, there's several of them. Obviously got ours. You can go to Marietta versus Buford. That'll be on Peachtree TV, streaming on Letter News First app, and you can actually type up. I looked this up today. On your Roku TV, on your Apple TV, or on your Fire TV, you can type up Letter News First and also stream the game on your TV as well. Just learned that today as well. So, but major games, one is going to be Lowndes Grayson. Another is Douglas County versus Hughes. And then the other is Cedar Grove versus Colquitt County. So we're going to break those matchups down. Those are my, I think, best games to watch if you have nothing to do this weekend. We're going to start with Douglas County versus Hughes. 2 fantastic coaches, 2 great QBs. Prentice Aaron Nolan, Sire Hardaway, under-recruited, underrated. Coach Boone taking that team to the heights they've never seen before, winning their first title, playing in an electric atmosphere, a state championship atmosphere he added. In that first game playing against Carrollton, then battling back, winning that great game. And as I said going into that matchup, I said ESPN is going to get their money's worth. And I knew it because you got 2 phenomenal quarterbacks, 2 great teams that are coming off state championships, berths, and wins. So obviously Langston Hughes won, and Carrollton came up a little bit short, but an electric game. So I think it's going to be intriguing to watch, right? And I think the difference this year is Douglas County has a few more dudes than I think they did last year, right? And I think the key to the game is for Douglas County is going to be their pass rush, right? Can they make Prentice Aaron Nolan uncomfortable, right? Like last season in the matchup. It was a game, and this is really a hard stat to even say or even fathom. He had half the amount of interceptions for the whole year in that game. He threw 4 interceptions all year. He had 2 in that game from Deuce Alexander, who's playing at Wake Forest now. That just goes to show you how disruptive they were early in that game. And this game was 14-3 at the break. Obviously, Douglas County ran away. I mean, not Douglas County. Langston Hughes ran away with it in the second half. We had it on TV last year. But I think it's going to be interesting to see, can they do the same thing? Can they make him uncomfortable? Will they be able to make him turn over the football? You got some dynamic players, right? Got Israel Jacob Boyce manning the backfield, or the back end. You also got Aaron Gregory, who plays safety for them. So I think that's going to be interesting to see if they can slow them down and generate a little bit of pass rush and make them uncomfortable. Now, I think a key for the Hughes, and obviously Aaron Nolan, the 5-star, is a phenomenal quarterback. He does a great job. He's going to be able to get his plays regardless. But the key no one's talking about is their running game, right, for Hughes. Now, they got a 2-headed monster in Page and Savage, right? Just Dorian Trey Page and also Justice Savage. And as Coach Boone alluded to when I talked to him, he called them thunder and lightning in each of the backs. So I think it's going to be intriguing to see. So far this season, Dorian Page, 447 yards rushing. Justice Savage, 371 yards rushing. Their top defenders so far this season have been Jacob Good, who's committed to Central Florida, and Amir Glenn, who's going to Wake Forest. Some other key players you might want to watch for is obviously Quavion. Hold on, let me highlight some of the players. I don't want to butcher their name. Okay, so some key players you might want to watch in this one. Alonzo Jackson, Fred Tigner, Amir Glenn, Quavion Pitts, Jordan Thompson, Nakari Johnson, obviously Jacob Goose committed to Central Florida. So those are some key players you want to watch for. Caleb Ash, some other ones as well. So, and I think what was interesting too when I mentioned the running game as well for Hughes is Trey Page, right? It's not talked about a lot, kind of underrated. And that's what Justice Savage was as well until, obviously he was putting up big numbers and big gains, but when he kind of balled out on ESPN, that's when his first Power 5 offer came from Indiana, right? And I think that two-handed monster just makes them dangerous, right? Because if you try to stack the box, they can go over top with Nolan and they can beat you with the receiving weapons, right? JoJo Stone, Giovanni McGee, right? And all their receivers. But the run game makes them, like, they're not one-dimensional with Aaron Nolan. That's what makes them so dangerous. If you try to stop one, they can beat you with the other. And so far this season, as I mentioned, Page 447 yards and then Savage 371 yards. So that two-headed monster is something special. So I think that's the key for the game for Langston Hughes, running the football. And as Coach Boone mentioned about Page, I think he's one of the fastest players in the country. So you'll be able to get to see that speed on display. I think it'll be interesting to see the stat line. It's not going to be streamed anywhere on TV, but I think it's going to be a marquee matchup. Two phenomenal teams. And I'm curious to see, can the back end, which is really elite for Langston Hughes, can they kind of slow down the dynamic playmakers for Douglas County, right? You got Aaron Gregory, top receiver in the 2026 class. I think he's as high as number 3 in the state of Georgia as far as his overall ranking. And then you got James Johnson. I think he has over 25 plus offers from Power 5 programs. So they could be elite as well throwing the football. And I think it's going to be interesting to see, can they get the running game going. So it's going to be a marquee matchup. Two phenomenal coaches in Coach Johnny White and Coach Boone Williams, and also some great playmakers all over the field. And the other players I didn't mention was Jordan Breeze Carter on the defense side of the ball, very highly rated. They also got Michael Hasty as well on the defense for Douglas County. So they got some dudes they rotate in and out on both sides, and I think it's going to be a phenomenal matchup. So that's one to watch for. If you have nothing to do, watch out for that matchup. Number 2, Lowndes versus Grayson. Coach Carter's coaching against his former team. One he led to a national championship and the state championship, I think back in 2020. So he did a phenomenal job there. Coach Centavious Bryant, the youngest coach, I think, in the state at 28. He's got them off to a great start, right? Not a good showing week 1 against Walton, but now they're 3-1, looking to go 4-1. And last week for Lowndes, right, did a good job on the ground. Marvis Parrish did a good job throwing the football, 205 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jakari Fleming is a player I highlighted in that game. 132 yards from scrimmage, 2 touchdowns on just 13 touches overall. So they did a good job. The key in this game, though, is going to be the pass defense of Lowndes versus the receivers and weapons for Grayson, right? Grayson can run it with Dylan Elder, but he also can go over top. Jeff Davis throwing the ball to John Senius and Alexander Sanchez. I think that's the matchup. Last week, Deshaun Horsley lit them up, right? There was torch from 319 passing yards. Deshaun Horsley had 5 catches for 216 yards and 4 touchdowns. Grayson has dynamic receivers as well. So I think that's the matchup to look for. Will they be able to slow down the playmakers for Grayson? Can they make it tough? And offensively leaning on Jakari Fleming, seeing if they can run the ball and set up play action with Marvis Parrish hitting some of their weapons, including, I think it's Coastal Carolina commit Grant Lasky. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be interesting to find out. If I had to roll with the pick, I think I'm going to roll with Grayson. In the other pick, I think I'm going to roll with Douglas County with the upset on the road. I like Hughes. Hughes is a phenomenal team. But I'm going to just roll with the underdog. I think Douglas County can make some noise. But the Grayson game, I just like the playmakers. I think Grayson's going to be able to do really good in special teams, with just getting great field position, giving their offense shorter fields. The defense has been pretty good the rest of the season ever since that week 1 loss. I think it'll be more of the same. I think it's going to be a fun game. They got a couple mismatches. Kylan Fox is one of them, getting him the ball in space and open field. John Senius is another, getting him the ball, space and open field. Does a great job of adjusting to the football. Those are some guys you want to watch for in that matchup. And the last one, this is actually going to be on ESPNU. Cedar Grove versus Colquitt County. Cedar Grove is surprisingly still number 1, despite some of their losses this season. But we know how Coach Adams likes to do. He likes to schedule some of the toughest opponents for his program and really make it tough, right? And we've seen that so far. We've seen them kind of trying to iron out the kinks a little bit. And we've seen them just try to, get all the weapons involved. Defensively, it's been a little bit trying for them. I think that's the only thing that worries me so far with the program. I think offensively they can score with anybody. I think E.J. Colson's doing a phenomenal job with the offense. Got Devin Carter back. He's doing a good job in the receiving corps. They can run the ball. Good running back. So I think it's going to be interesting to see can they go on the road. And Coker County got some dudes, man. They got some dudes. They got Naquavis Carr is committed to Georgia. They got the tight end, Landon Thomas, who's committed to Florida State. Nico Fan's been doing a good job, 937 yards passing and 14 touchdowns this season. Naquavis Carr, I just mentioned, 30 receptions, 489 yards, and 9 touchdowns already. So Colquitt's a good team. They're not talked about a lot because they're down south, but last year they were 13-0, right up until they played Carrollton. So I think they'll be right there again. They got a great team. And it'll be interesting to see how Cedar Grove plays. Again, their defense is giving up 42.2 points per game. And I think last year, the defense was a lot better. The defense has struggled so far. Obviously, this is a higher level competition. We'll see how they look as far as region play. I think the region will be a little bit tougher this year. But we're going to find out a lot about Cedar Grove. I think this is their final non-region game. But it'll be interesting to see how their defense holds up. I think E.J. Colson will continue to have a good season. Already he's passed for 981 yards and 15 touchdowns and just went over the 4,000-yard mark. So I expect to continue to see him to ball out. I do. So those are my games. Go check them out. Those will be fun. 2 of them will be on TV. Lyles versus Grayson. If you got YouTube TV or anything that carries GPB, you can watch that game. And then Cedar Grove and Coker County will be on ESPNU. Pretty much any streaming service you have will have ESPN. So you can watch out that game too. That'll be a good one. All right. Now let's wrap up the second segment before we conclude the show with the third. We got a little bit of recruiting news. I thought this was exciting. We get to see him actually tomorrow night, and I'm actually excited to. We know how elite Edric is, already committed to Ohio State, but he got a dude, and I got to talk to Edric early on, right before the season started. Obviously, you guys, he was the AJ Super 11, and he talked about wanting to pass the torch, right? Wanting to give it to somebody else and wanting to show the players the right way to do things, right? And I think he did that. And they got another dude who just was named a 5-star in Bryce Perry, right? I'm so excited to see him up close and personal because, if Houston was able to pass off some of the great things that he already possesses off to Bryce Perry, right? That D-line is going to be elite for some years to come, right? So I think that's going to be interesting to see, right? Obviously, Marietta, they got their hands full tomorrow night. We'll be on Peaches TV, but I think it's going to be interesting to see him up close and personal and be able to see him just do work and be able to see how elite he is. So I'm excited for that, to see him up close and personal. And kid has a bright future, and I'm sure he got probably over 20-plus offers from Power 5s. Be interesting to see who's high on his recruiting trail right now, but I thought that was interesting to see him named a 5-star composite on 247 Sports. So he'll be a lot of fun to watch tomorrow. Another player that's blown up is Dontavius Wyman, right? Recently received offers. This is just in September, right? Florida, Auburn, Central Florida, Tennessee, Georgia Tech. Those are not little offers. Those are Power 5s, right? Those are you contending for potentially national championships, right? So he's blown up. They got a big-time matchup coming up soon against Woolward Academy in a couple of weeks. I think that'll be for the region crown and the region championship. But he's been doing a good job. Got to talk to Coach Syrup and his head coach a couple of weeks ago just about his play and how explosive he's been. And he plays both sides. I think he plays a little bit of quarterback, plays a little bit of safety and corner. And I think he had one stat line, which is incredible, right? I think he had like 4 touchdowns, 1 passing, 1 running, and I think he had 2 pick sixes. Those stat lines are unheard of. So he's obviously a great player. The recruiters are starting to notice. It's class of 2026. I would not be surprised if before the end of the season he's ranked a 3 or a 4-star. The things he's doing this season has just been incredible, and he's been a bright spot for the Jonesboro Cardinals. Obviously, they got other phenomenal players as well on the team, but he's been doing a great job commanding the team and being a leader. So, wanted to give him some praise. That is awesome. All right, Ethan Barbour. Craig, you'll like this. Alpharetta High School is making this commitment decision tomorrow. at 12:15 p.m. Yes, you heard that right. 12:15 p.m. This was reported by Chad Simmons of On3 Sports. He's making his commitment to either Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, Ohio State, or South Carolina. So I'm not going to make a prediction. I'm 0 for lately. I think I'm like 0 for 5 in a recent prediction, so I'm not making a prediction. I don't know where he's going, but I think that'll be an interesting announcement to watch for. Ethan Barbour, superstar tight end out of Alpharetta High School, 4-star, class of 2025. So he's going to announce his commitment tomorrow at 12:15. It'll actually be breaking right when Craig is doing his show tomorrow. So that will be interesting to see. All right, and last but not least, to wrap up the recruiting segment, Walton wide receiver Wyatt Sonderman officially commits to Jacksonville State. Under-recruited, underrated receiver, but he does a good job for the Walton program. His head coach talked to me. He's a great guy, great locker room guy, one of the leaders. And as we know, Walton's been tearing it up this year, right? 4-0 so far this year. Wyatt Sonderman is the second leading receiver right now. Has 264 yards receiving and 4 touchdowns. Leads them in touchdowns this year. As we mentioned, kind of that deep play guy, right? That 20-plus yard play guy. And that was what stood out to me, right? It's what makes Walton so dynamic, right? Because you got guys that can get over top of the defense. Obviously, Sonderman is one of them. Lloyd is another one. But then you have Hunter Till as well, a guy you can throw to that's kind of a security blanket. A guy that you could throw over the middle, can get big yards. So just Sonderman being that big 20-play guy consistently for them, and we've seen it again this year, it just makes their offense dynamic. They can also run the ball with Makari Boterford as well. So he's having a great year. I think Jacksonville State, they got a dog. They got a really good receiver. I think he'll be great for that program down there in Alabama. I think he's going to bring a different dynamic to the team. So congratulations to him to still be able to go play on the next level. It's not easy to do. So I wanted to give him a shout-out. Announced his commitment yesterday on social media, on Instagram, on Twitter. So congrats to Wyatt. Good luck the rest of the season. And we will get to see him, if you guys want to see him up close and personal, on Peachtree TV, October, I think, is it 6th or the 13th, Craig? Let me see real quick. No, October 6th. I was right. So they play North Cobb, October 6th, on Peachtree TV, on the road. And that's a rivalry game, right? North Cobb has had their number, right? And Walton has said it repeatedly, they want to win the region, they want to win the opener, which they did, and they want to win state. So this is a game I've got circled. It's the region opener for them. This is how you set the tone. I think if they win that game, I think the region's a runaway for them. I don't really see too many teams contending and making it difficult for them in their offense this year. The defense has been performing great as well. But I think they win that game. I think they set the tone. I think they get the region crown. So we know they struggled in the past with them a little bit, but I think this year will be different. I think Coach Bruner's doing a good job, and I think they'll be able to kind of, beat North Cobb. I think it'll be a good game nonetheless, but I think they'll be able to set the tone, get that region title, get that number 1 seed, not have to be on the road in the second round. Instead, the spectators, the opponents, they will have to come to Raider Valley, and there's no better feeling than that. So we're going to go ahead and cut the break. We got one more segment, and we're going to conclude the show.
Hey, is the power off on this?
I don't know. Just take it off.
Safety violation, unsafe work conditions.
In the construction trades unions, safety is our highest priority, and we train you to recognize and speak out on unsafe working conditions so that everyone arrives and goes home safely. Learn about careers in construction at georgiaconstructioncareers.com.
What you doing?
Hey, just finishing this claim to get Dave back on the road.
Nice. I wonder what Dave's doing.
You do your thing. We've got you covered.
All right, guys. Final segment of the show. Top 10 headlines for the weekend presented by GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com. Lot to talk about in this segment. A lot of big news. Basketball, football, big-time games, all that good stuff. So, number one, got to give some love to the defense, right? So they're going to headline the first headline, right? Top 5 in sacks so far this year. Providence Christian and Victor Engel, 8 sacks this year. From Wheeler, Greg Blanks the third, 8 sacks as well. Sandy Creek's Evan Harvey has 8 sacks as well. Number 4, Etowah Joshua Harding has 7, and North Gwinnett Jaden Brock has 7. Now, before we move to 2, I want to roll a clip. This is Tommy Lafayette. In addition to getting done on the defense, which we're going to mention a statistic in a second, look what he does offensively. No worries. Okay. And you don't have to worry about slowing it down. It's going to slow down itself. Look at this play. Look at him protect this quarterback, completely annihilate the defender. One more time, we're going to look. I mean, this is your starting running back. He's already had a clip this year of him putting a guy on the highlight tape with a hurdle. I mean, that's just textbook. That's what you want to see of your running back on the next level in college, pros. If he's doing that kind of stuff, you're excited. So, great job by Tommy. Wanted to shout him out there. But defensively, he is the leader right now in interceptions in the state of Georgia. Yes, Lambert's Tommy Lafayette has 6 interceptions this season already. Number 2 is Towers. Zamir Hopper with 5. Number 3 is Glenn Academy Jermaine Mack with 5. Number 4 is Lafayette's Dawson Pendergrass with 5. And number 4 is Antonio Smith, a defensive lineman, with 4. So those are the leaders in interceptions. I want to give some love there. Obviously, Tommy leads the headline there. But, I mean, he just gets it done on both sides of the ball. He's doing a great job for that program, and I think they're going to be interesting to watch. Big game this weekend that we're going to talk about in a second. Number 3, out-of-state star Chase McCarty nails down his list to 5 schools: Texas, Houston, Georgia Tech, Texas Tech, Missouri, and Kansas. He plays at in Huntsville, Alabama. I think he just recently transferred, but guy I've seen played a couple times, Tip-Off Classic, several other basketball events in the state of Georgia, and he's always impressed. So interesting to see if Georgia can land, or Georgia Tech can land the commit from Alabama. But he's in the top 5 of schools, so that is a good thing for the Georgia Tech program, who looks to kind of rebuild the basketball program and get back to contending at a high level. All right, number 4, big game to watch. I got it as the game of the week. East Coweta versus Lambert. Lambert comes in the game at 4-0. They're averaging 43.25 points per game. Lafayette, as I mentioned earlier, has been a beast this year. In addition to interceptions, he also has 299 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns. The junior quarterback's also doing a good job of throwing the ball. 880 yards passing, 8 touchdowns so far this season. For East Coweta, they're also putting up a lot of points on the board, right? Deshaun Horsley, as I mentioned earlier, put on a show against Lowndes. 5 catches, 216 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So the matchup to watch, I think, is the Lambert secondary, who I have a lot to say in that, is the ball hawk, Tommy Lafayette, versus the East Coweta playmakers. They got a lot of the guys that could throw the ball to. If Lafayette and the Lambert secondary is disruptive and they can make plays and make it tough for them, I think that would be the key to winning for them, because if they go off, and we've seen East Coweta can go off, it makes it tough for them. It makes it easier for them to win. So I think it's going to be interesting. On the other side, Lafayette can run that ball too, right? And they can control the clock, right? Make it easy for their quarterback. They can also beat you down the field deep. So I think it's going to be an intriguing matchup to see who comes out on top. 2 undefeated teams, 2 that runs the football well, but also they can heat you up throwing the ball as well. So I think it's going to be intriguing to see who comes out on top. 2 phenomenal programs, 2 great teams. We will see who wins that. I can't really say, I think it's going to win. I'm not sure. That's such an intriguing matchup. I think it'll be fun, but I'm not going to go a game pick on that one. All right, number 5. I want to highlight a team that nobody's talking about in 2A. The only thing I've seen so far is Georgia High School Football Daily interviewing their coach in early September. They did do that, but they already have the leading sack guy in the state in Victor Angel. I don't see them in anybody's rankings. I don't see them in Score Atlanta's. I don't see them in AJC. I don't see them in Georgia High School Football Daily. They're in nobody's rankings, but they're off to a 4-0 start. That is Providence Christian, having a phenomenal season. So I just want to get them some exposure. I mean, that is not easy to do. They're out there in 2A. So today, that's what I want to do, give them some exposure. Senior running back Quentin Slaughter has been having a phenomenal season. Get this stat line: 751 yards rushing, 13 touchdowns through just 4 games, guys. 4 games he has that stat line. I'll read it again. 751 yards rushing and 13 touchdowns. He's having a great season. The quarterback, Ben Klassen, is also doing well, completing 75% of his passes and is throwing for 714 yards and 9 tutties this season. So this is the team we need to start paying some attention into. They are having a great year. They got the region schedule coming up soon. I think it's a very favorable one, in my opinion. They should make the playoffs, but we'll see how strong they finish. But I want to highlight the program doing a great job. Nobody's talking about them out there in 2A. Want to give them some love. Providence Christian, the program out there in Lowburn, doing a good job. Number 6, quick update on softball rankings. They just came out. If you haven't seen them, go to scoreatl.com. Just had our rankings come out. Buford right now leads East Coweta, North Gwinnett, Brookwood, and North Paulding in Class 7A. Top 5 with North Cobb, Lambert, Lowndes, Grayson, and Denmark rounding out the top 5. Pope, team to beat in 6A. They lead Lassiter, Houston County, East Paulding, and Appalachia. In 5A, Ola leads Villa Rica, Northside Columbus, and Jefferson and Coffee in the top 5. Heritage Catoosa tops Class 4A ahead of East Forsyth, West Lawrence, Sonoraville, and North Oconee. Gordon Lee leads Class 3A, and it has Harlem, Wesleyan, Franklin County, Jackson chasing in the top 5. Class 2A, Mount Perrins ranked atop the class, leading Cook, Rockmart, Jeff Davis, and Ace Charter. And Class A Division 1 Priest Avenue tops. They lead Heard County, Bacon County, Mount Vernon, Lamar County in the top 5. And in Class A Division 2, Lanier County is number 1, leading Lincoln County, Glasscock County, Schley County, and Taylor County in the top 5. So that's softball rankings. Go to scoreatl.com to get the latest on that and look at all the team, and your team might be in there. So that's what we got up for that. Number 7, Rebecca Miranda. Want to highlight her. She just broke the Brookwood career assist records in volleyball and the big win over Parkview. This was reported by Gwinnett Daily Post. I thought this was a pretty cool stat line for her. Breaking the career record, setting a record in Brookwood history. That has to be a lot of fun. So I wanted to give her some praise. A lot of fun. Number 8, player that's getting it done on and off the field. You've seen his highlights earlier. Darren Coleman. He's also getting it done off the field. He was just inducted into the Central Gwinnett High School chapter of the National Honor Society. So as I said, getting it done on the field and getting it done off the field with his phenomenal play. So I just wanted to highlight him. He does a great job for the program, playing football obviously, and also off the field, just getting it done in the classroom. So that's what you want to see out of your athletes and your players, and he's doing a great job. So wanted to give him some praise and some notice. Number 9, 2 teams in the national volleyball rankings in Georgia on max preps. You got Pace Academy. They're 21-3 right now, and Pope is 26-2. Pace Academy is led by senior Grace Agoli. She has 247 kills this season and a kill percentage of 43.6%. For those that don't know, a kill is when an attack is unreturnable by the opposing team or the attack leads to a blocking error. So she's doing a phenomenal job leading the state in that category. And then Pace Academy has 2 out-of-state losses this season and only 1 to Buford. And then Pope. Want to highlight Pope. Pope is undefeated right now in region play at 6-0. They only lost to Pace Academy in Hillgrove this season. They have a major matchup tonight at 6 p.m. in a little while against Alpharetta, who's 23-2. So they want to get that region crown. They're going to have to beat Alpharetta tonight. Also undefeated in region play as well, Alpharetta is. So whoever wins this probably is going to be the region champion. So marquee matchup. You have nothing to do tonight. Go check out that game between Pope and Alpharetta to determine who probably is going to win the region championship. All right, so that's what I got for volleyball. Number 10, marquee matchup. I haven't mentioned it, but it's going to be on TV and the stations out there in Savannah, rightfully so. Marquee matchup between Savannah Christian and Calvary Day. As I mentioned, I think the matchup to watch for in that one is going to be the defensive line play for Savannah Christian. Number 2 player in the country in the 2025 class in Elijah Griffin. Got Damon Guyton, who's also a top-ranked player as a freshman. He's getting good rotation into the defense. He's already impressed a lot of people that have seen him play. He's probably going to be a top-rated prospect as soon as that comes out for 27 class. LaDamian Guyton, a name to know. They're going against the Calvary Day offense, which will be really intriguing, right? led by Jake Merklinger, who's committed to Tennessee. Got Thomas Blackshear. Got Michael Smith, who's committed to South Carolina. Got a lot of players. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how disruptive can the defensive line for Savannah Christian be against the offensive line for Jake Merklinger, and obviously led by Thomas Blackshear and Michael Smith and their weapons. Because if they can be disruptive and make him speed up, make him get the ball out of his hands quicker, could be potentially turnovers, big plays for the defense, right? And they get the ball back to the offense for Savannah Christian, you got to like your chances. So big-time game out there in Savannah. It's going to be on TV and the stations out there in Savannah. So go check it out. That'll be a good one as well. I mentioned some other games of the weeks. I mentioned Lowndes versus Grayson. Our game, Marietta versus Beaufort. And then obviously I mentioned Cedar Grove versus Colquitt County. It's going to be on ESPNU. The GPB game, Lowndes and Grayson. And then obviously this is another big one to watch, Savannah Christian and Calvary Day. So that's all I got for you guys. I'm going to wrap up the show. Stay tuned for a great game tomorrow. Great show as well tomorrow at 12 p.m. Drive for the GSSA state title. We got a big-time game. Marietta versus Beaufort. We'll be on TV. Dylan Rayola headlines it. 5-star recruit. Phenomenal player. And he's committed to Georgia. So expect an OC to be there. Maybe Mike Bobo. And maybe Kirby Smart. So we'll see. Stay tuned for that. And we're going to wrap up the show. We'll see you guys soon. Peace.
Wow.